But still,
and these cultures, they might have had these fermented foods for thousands of years, but they have no understanding of what they do. So they'll abandon them easily. They'll say, oh yeah, we know these are healthy, but you know, my grandmother always served that. But we need to get back to these foods because they're really, the understanding that we're trying to bring today is that both of us, is that these foods are essential to wellness because they are, both of us are in agreement totally on this, is you're bringing a live force of beneficial beings, thousands, billions of them. You gave a great statistic about the tennis court.
Absolutely. The surface of the gut is equal to a surface of a tennis court. And this tennis court is covered by bacteria in a healthy situation. There's a thick band of bacteria attached to it. So, and as long as these bacteria are all beneficial, there's about 2 kilograms of bacteria in a healthy human gut. There are more cells there than there are cells in the entire human body. There is more genetic material in there than in the entire human body. And this genetic material is very powerful. It interacts and talks to the genetic material in the human body, and it affects the way the genes are expressed. So that there's genetics for you. There's the connection with genetics. But I have to say that humans used to consume beneficial bacteria for millennia, ever since we were created, whichever way we were created. Because we used to drink waters from streams and wells, and those were full of bacteria, full of soil bacteria. And the soil bacteria produces tannins and produces humic acids, which are the natural way for us to absorb minerals, because humic acids chelate inorganic forms of minerals from the ground, and that's the only way that plants can absorb them, and we can absorb them, because these acids are absolutely important for us. When we started drinking tap water, which is chlorinated, we have removed all these bacteria. You know that in every country in the world, when the chlorination of the tap water was introduced, the nation went through an epidemic of appendicitis. It's been recorded in Russia, it's been recorded in Britain, in Europe, in Singapore, and in China. Every time when the chlorination of the tap water was introduced, the nation went through an epidemic of appendicitis because something very important was removed from the water, which people were used to. And that caused an epidemic. That's right.
And chlorine destroys the beneficial bacteria.
Chlorine destroys the beneficial bacteria. And people also used to supplement their diet all the time with fermented foods, because that was a natural way of preserving foods. People used to ferment grains, meats, fish, vegetables, dairy products. Pretty much every food on earth is fermented. In every culture there are some fermented foods. So people were supplementing their diets with a lot of live beneficial bacteria all the time. So we need them. Our bodies have been designed that way. I have to say that most probiotics, commercially available probiotics on the market, are prophylactic. They have not been designed to make a difference. They have been designed for healthy people to generally stay healthy. Autistic children need interventional strength probiotics, therapeutic strength probiotics, which have got varied mixture of different species of bacteria, strong enough, in enough numbers, in big enough numbers to make a difference. Intervention probiotics, I've got my own probiotic that I use in my clinic in Britain, called BioCult. These probiotics cause a die-off reaction, because when you introduce them into the gut, they start killing off the pathogenic flora, and when these critters die, they release toxicity. And these are the very toxins which make the child ill and make the child autistic. So initially, if you introduce a large amount of this interventional probiotic into the child's digestive tract, you'll get a so-called die-off reaction when the symptoms get worse. That's why with these probiotics it is important to start from a tiny amount, gradually build the dose up to a therapeutic level, and then the child stays on a therapeutic level for a few months, because that's how long it takes to drive out pathogens and to replace them with a beneficial flora.
We have 7 principles on the body ecology diet, and one of them is the principle of cleansing. One of the things just looking back on this last couple of years that I've worked with autism and with mothers in particular, one of the things I had to begin to really teach the first groups of mothers that I worked with is this principle of cleansing, because when you start to get well, when the body, when there's more energy in the body, the first thing the body's going to do with that energy is push out toxins, because it's got to get those toxins out or you'll never get well. And then when the toxins are out in the bloodstream, when they're coming out in the skin or whatever, when there's a fever, the mother thinks her child, the diet isn't working. These good changes that she's been doing well, they're not working for her child, he suddenly becomes sick. That's what they think. But so if we could start to people could start to understand that the body does cleanse itself. It's designed. This ability to cleanse is embedded in the very, very creation of this body. And we've got to get the toxins out. And when they come out, it can be an uncomfortable process. As I look back over the last couple of years where I've been working with autism, and I see the mothers who've gotten their children well, I realize the mothers are key. They have a courage to trust that the fever that their child is having, or the flu-like symptoms, or the fact that he's lying around tired and miserable, they trust that when he goes through this, he's going to be better off. That she's been doing the right things, so it's created this unfortunate situation, but after this situation's over, the child's going to be much healthier. And many, many times after they have some major cleansing. As a matter of fact, with a young coconut kefir drink, it's very common in the first 2 weeks for the child to have one or several really foul-smelling stools, or even a couple of days of these foul-smelling stools that smell like mothballs. But once they're through that, they start to do things they've never done before. They eye contact, they become very social, they start to speak for the first time, because all these poisons have left the body. And in children, I always say they have this seed power to organize these poisons out of the body. They have the ability to heal much more quickly than an adult does. So we want to catch the children as young as possible. When we can get them, well, first of all, ideally, there should be never another child born with autism ever again. I think we know enough now to prevent it completely. But for the children who have come here and who are autistic at this time, I think that the earlier we get them, the faster we can turn them around. But there's with the older children we've worked with, we haven't had anybody who hasn't making tremendous progress.